Hi guys, welcome to Didi Di's Crafty Corner. Today I'm sharing with you a card project from Altenew. Now this die set is called the Virginia Rose 3D die, and I purchased it recently for a very good price from Loretta Rogers here on YouTube. I will leave her link below because she often does do destashes, but I'm not often lucky enough to get one, but I did this time. I'm also going to be using the Altenew mini ink cube sets. I'm going to pull out a couple of those for this, and those blender brushes that I got off of Amazon. So the colors that I'm going to be using for the petals on this flower are from the Red Sunset foursome of minis of the Altenew ink. The colors that I've chosen to pull out for today are going to be Blush, Rouge, and Crimson. And then in the green family later on, we're going to be using from the Green Fields. We're going to be using the Frayed Leaf, Forest Glades, and Evergreen. Okay, and then the other color that I've pulled is Warm Sunshine, which is my favorite yellow color that they have. So that will be coming up when we get to the centers of the flowers. All right, so I've chosen to use these inks to go along with this particular set of dies. Now, these are dies that are standalone dies. You buy them just to cut out these flowers. And I had had my eye on them for quite a long time. So when I saw this pop up on a destash, I was like, oh, I'm going to grab them. Now's the perfect time, and I love them. They have a couple of other sets of this type of dies, and I'm going to go ahead and order those as well. So the first color I put down was a very light color. It's the blush color, and to get that payoff that you see on the first color, I had to go over it 3 or 4 times. I'm not worried about blending right now. There's no blending involved in this. That's that Warm Sunshine I'm talking about. The blending, I'm not going to be worried about blending this because I'm just cutting it out. I just want to get the color down on the paper. The paper I'm using is Bristol Smooth, and it works very well for this ink, but like I said, my intention wasn't to blend it, just to get the ink on the paper. So keep that in mind. This is not a blended tutorial in any way. I'm just throwing ink on the paper. All right, so my idea was to keep some of the greens light and then come in and make part of the paper dark, and then a little olive in an area as well I thought would look good, and a little yellow green would look good as well. So I'm going to be pulling in a smaller sheet of Bristol to add my yellow, my Warm Sunshine yellow, and I'll be putting the green on there. So here I'm just adding some darker, lighter tones of green in this mixture so that when I lay the leaves down, the leaves won't look the same on every leaf in the stem. That's my goal there. Okay. You may hear me coughing a little bit through this video. I have been a little under the weather. So now I'm coming in with that Warm Sunshine, and isn't this a gorgeous yellow? I love this yellow. I find myself reaching for it often enough to where I really think I should buy a larger ink pad, to be honest. So I've done the yellow. I'm coming in with the greens, and I'm using that, this is the Evergreen color, the darker of the green. I'm using that around the edges, and I really came in heavy with it around the outside edges. Now I'm coming in with the Frayed Leaf. Yeah, the Frayed Leaf is what I'm coming in with, and I'm blending it with some of the yellow that was on the pad. So the pad, some of the yellow that was left on that little sheet that I'm using to blend on, I'm just throwing that in, and then to get a little more dimension quickly, I went straight to the ink pad to paper, and I'm just going to blend it real quick. Like I said, the blending it together, making it look blended was not what I was going for. I just wanted that color to be saturated enough for me to get a good mixture when I cut it out. I like this. I think this looks great. And that green and reddish color towards the end gives me so many watermelon ideas, you have no idea. So I've taken the dyes for the light color and I've added it to that area, and the medium color, and I've added it to that area. I'm going to pull them out, set them aside. And then I'm going to run it through one more time because I'm going to be making 2 big flowers and 2 small flowers, and then I'll see what I can fit on an oval. I'm planning on putting this in an oval, so of some sort. I'm thinking maybe vellum. And now I'm using the watermelon looking piece for a couple of leaves and those darker corally colors that are going to go in the center. Okay, so I'm going to run this through, and then I will run it through one more time, and then we're going to put it together. So I'm actually going to ink up the edges real quick as well. So here's the yellow and the greens, and the little centers. There's a little center that comes out in the yellow that you have to put the green piece on top of. So I only needed 2 of the yellows and 2 of the little circles and 2 of the little half circles, and then the other piece is a stem, and that goes on just the little flower. So as you can see, I'm kind of setting them where I'm going, the flowers that they belong to, and then I will piece them all together. But before I piece them together, I'm going to run this through one more time. I'm going to take the same ink. So the middle tone ink in the peaches, which was rouge. Yeah, which was rouge. Let me just check and make sure. Yeah, it was rouge. It was rouge. I'm going to take the middle color, rouge, and I'm going to pop that on the outside edges of the lightest leaf. I don't know if I do it first or if I do it last. And now I'm going to take the darkest color, evergreen, and do it with the outside edge of the leaves. I think I do it after I put it together. So here's the amazing thing about these dies. They fit together so perfectly. I'm vision impaired, you guys know this, and I was able to see by looking. I've got the chart right in front of me as you're looking at it right there. The bottom petal, the bottom left-hand side petal matches up to the middle petal, and then when you get to the last petal, the one petal that goes up high on the left-hand top matches up with the middle petal. So all of these match up perfectly, and the same thing when you get to the small petal. I'll talk about that as well. But I was able to easily match them up, and if you match those 2 areas up, and it kind of shows you that in the diagram as well. If you just look for that one petal that matches, in this case it was the bottom petal, and then the top of the petal where it just kind of fit together. If you do that, it just comes together very, very easily. So I put the 2 bigger ones together, and then for the center you have to add 2 pieces. So you're adding that yellow and green piece together, and then you have the option of putting your little middle section of the flower, the little middle piece, either under or on top. So I chose to stick it on top because this is the first time I'd put this together, and I thought it would be easier to align it. So I put it on top, and I think it looks fine that way, but you could put it under as well. Those 2 are done. Don't they look amazing? I think they're really pretty for flowers that are put together in a 3D fashion. I didn't try anything like bending them up or curling them or distressing them or anything like that yet, but I think that would look pretty good too. Okay, so now for the bottom, or for that littler leaf, again, I'm taking the lightest color, and I'm adding the little floral piece that looks like a bud. It actually kind of looks like a bud, and it just nestles in. It fits into it perfectly. And then the last darker piece, it matches up to the top right, to the second petal over from the right hand side. If you line those up together, then the whole thing matches up perfectly. So I'm telling you guys, this was a breeze. It was super, super easy. So I'm going to do the last one. I cut out 4 stems for my flower as well, and I'm going to add those together. I'm gluing 2 together, and then I'm going to glue that onto the bottom of our little bud, and then we can start the card. So isn't this cute, guys? I just thought it was so cute. This is really, I really like this quite a bit. And if you cut it all out, if you're just using regular cardstock and not coloring it, you could whip out a bunch of these really quickly as well. Here's where I'm going in and adding just a little bit of shading. I found that I just, you know, I hate edges. I hate to leave edges the same color. I always feel like I got to distress it a little bit. So I came in with the darker, with the middle color of the peach and just went around the edges where the tips were, where the high color would be. Did the same thing on a few of the leaves. And here I'm showing you that I have them in the little sets here where I can see their names. I also have them, the ink splotches on the back of each one as well. So it makes it easy for me to put them back into space. I think that's what I'm showing you there. All right, this is what they look like. Aren't they stunning? I just think it's so pretty. It really is. It's such a difference, and I just think it's so pretty. All right, to put the card together, I decided to use a piece of cardstock that I thought would match the lightest color in the florals, and I used an embossing folder, and then I cut it up so that I could have 3 panels. I added some leaves that would fit underneath my vellum sheet. I cut out a vellum oval. I cut out a label, and I've attached it in such a way that I will be able to hide some tape underneath it to hold the piece of vellum down. That's why I did it that way. So I'm going to be adding my florals on top of the leaves that are glued underneath the vellum, and then my florals are sitting on top of the vellum all on the left hand side. So they're all going to be popped up with a little bit of foam tape, and then not the leaves, just the florals. And then the leaves, I'm adding my tape runner to the back, and I'll just be putting them in next to the florals, and then I'll use my tape runner on the back of the entire piece. And I only used 2 little pieces of leaves on the right hand side of those florals. I just thought it was a little overdone if I added any more. And my sentiment I stamped is just a very simple hello in black so that it would pop. I'm adding tape to every place that you cannot see through the vellum. So any place that has a cover, I'm adding this tape, and then that's going to hold it down onto our cardstock. Even though our cardstock has been ran through with an embossing folder, it still holds perfectly. And here's what the card looks like. I'm going to go ahead and show you the final photos now. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.